In his talk, "This Is Why I Don't Believe in God," Alex O'Connor raises three main challenges to the existence of God. First, he questions divine hiddenness, asking why God would remain hidden from those who genuinely seek him. Second, he points to geographical variations in belief, arguing that one's birthplace heavily influences belief in God, challenging the idea of a universal deity. Lastly, he raises the problem of suffering, questioning how a loving God could allow so much seemingly meaningless suffering. Here's a perspective on how Jesus might lovingly respond to each point, offering a path to deeper understanding. Response to divine hiddenness: finding God in your longing for justice and truth. You express frustration with the idea that God could be hidden, especially from sincere seekers. But consider this: if God were absent, why would you feel so passionate about his? Why would concepts like justice and goodness matter so deeply to you? Your longing for a fair and good God reveals an inherent sense of justice, which might actually reflect God's presence within you. If there were no God, why would you seek these things so intensely? Jesus taught, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled." Could it be that your search for truth and justice is God's way of drawing you toward him? Think of it like a hidden sun that still warms us. Maybe God's influence on your moral compass and passion for truth is more present than you realize. Addressing geographical variations, considering culture and spiritual influences. You rightly note that geography can shape beliefs, but this doesn't mean faith is merely a cultural product. Cultural pressures can create real barriers to professing faith in Jesus, especially where Christianity is a minority. In some places, openly expressing belief comes with risks, which can skew visible data. Moreover, spiritual influences might also be at play. If Satan exists, as described by the Apostle Paul as the god of this world, who blinds people to spiritual truth, wouldn't he aim to obscure the truth? Belief patterns may reflect not just cultural pressures, but also spiritual ones. It raises the question: what would faith look like if people everywhere were free to explore it without fear? Perhaps there's more to these variations than meets the eye. The problem of suffering, an invitation to be part of God's response. Suffering is a difficult issue, and Jesus faced it deeply. But perhaps the most meaningful response to suffering is God's invitation for us to alleviate it. Jesus showed that God's response isn't just to explain suffering, but to transform it through compassion and action. Jesus lived a life of presence with those who suffered, healing and comforting them. He invites us to do the same. Could God's plan be not to eliminate suffering entirely, but to equip us to confront it with love? In this way, alleviating suffering allows you to embody God's love and be part of healing a broken world. It's often through these acts that we experience God's love most profoundly. Conclusion: walking the path of Jesus as the way, truth, and life. Jesus didn't ask people to have all the answers before following him. He said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," meaning that following him is the process through which understanding deepens. Jesus called for action, not just belief. He invites us to walk with him, trusting that as we do, the truth will unfold. The path is narrow and often challenging, but it's a path of transformation. Jesus taught that dying to oneself, as represented in baptism, is the way to new life. It's not about mere ritual. It's about becoming a new creation. What if your frustrations are invitations to something deeper? Jesus offers a way of living that reveals truth through active discipleship. Faith isn't a leap in the dark, but a step into the light. Jesus invites you to trust that as you walk, the way will become clearer, the truth deeper, and the life fuller.